Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. The Wolf She Never Knew. Episode 13. Chapter 92. I awoke before my alarm. I rolled in Everest's arms to face him. He was still sound asleep. He looked so peaceful. I snuggled into him, listening to his heart beating. The thudding noise was soothing. The heat that was radiating off of him felt like a comforting blanket that I just wanted to wrap myself in. His arms tightened around my body and pulled me even closer to him. I lay there with him, closing my eyes. I must have drifted back into a light sleep. My eyes snapped open when I could feel someone watching me. One of my hands rubbed the sleep off my face, blinking a few times. When my eyes focused on him, he was smiling at me. "Good morning, beautiful." He kissed my forehead. "Good morning, handsome." I replied to him. Our mouths clashed together in a heated, passionate kiss. He moved to lay next to me, his arms wrapping around my body and pulling me to him. We drifted off into a light 30-minute nap, our alarms waking us to get up and get ready. Later that morning, we were in the courtyard with the boys and the rest of our people saying our goodbyes. I hugged each of them tightly and placed a kiss upon their cheeks. "Listen to your brother and the adults around you. If something happens, stick with Trevor and do what he says. We will see you all soon." I gave them a tight squeeze, holding back the tears. I honestly did not want to be separated from them again, but I knew it would be too much of a liability to bring them with us. Everest shook their hands and then wrapped all three of them in one of his massive hugs. He gave the best hugs. He let them go and turned to Trevor. "Take care of your brother and yourself. Do as you're told and don't stop training the way you have been shown. The way that we worked together." "Yes, sir," Trevor told him. I gave all of them one last hug and kissed the tops of their heads. I told each of them that I loved them. Their little arms wrapped around me tighter and I held them for a little longer. I only let them go because Everest cleared his throat and I knew it was time for them to get going. We said goodbye to friends and family before climbing the steps to look out over them all. Everest cleared his throat. "As everyone has been made aware, we are sending you to the bunker house for your safety. We wish you could travel and be with us, but it would be much too dangerous. Especially for the elderly, little ones, and our pregnant women who cannot shift to protect themselves. You will be traveling with a protection detail as well as a few witches who all have special abilities and will have you hidden from danger. Be safe out there." He motioned as the gates opened, buses pulled in, and parked where they were instructed. We watched as our people loaded into the buses. I specifically watched our three boys load onto the first bus, last. Trevor turned back, looked back at us, smiled, and gave us a little wave before disappearing inside the bus. The engines roared back to life and in a blink of an eye they were gone and everything was silent. I knew the witch spell would work but didn't realize how well it would. The spell they used made sure there would be zero traces of our people as they traveled. We waited 15 minutes when Everest's phone buzzed. It was a text from one of the warriors. I peeked over his shoulders to read it too. "We are clear. Good luck and safe travels to the south." Everest made a hand gesture and the gates closed. That is when I let the tears flow freely down my cheeks. I turned and walked inside before the remainder of our people could see my moment of weakness. I gathered myself in the bathroom, pressing the cold washcloth to my eyes in hopes to reduce the puffy redness that was lingering on my skin. I left the bathroom and walked to Everest's office. I didn't knock and walked in. Our eyes locked and I could feel his sadness, even though he was not showing it. I walked around the desk as he stood. He wrapped his arms tightly around me, holding onto me. My arms were wrapped as tight as I could around him, holding him to me. We stood like this, in one another's arms for a few minutes. We both inhaled deeply, calming one another, before letting go. Everything is going to be okay. He spoke to me. I know it will be. We will see them soon. I reassured him. Yes, we will. Now let's make travel plans. He moved to sit down and I sat in my own chair. Sounds like a plan. Do you think we should fly or shift and run? I leaned back in my chair. Flying would be safer, but not everyone will fit. Well, we might have a commercial-style plane. Let me make a phone call to a friend. He dialed a number on his phone. It rang twice and I heard the deep voice of another man, Everest. Yes, Jason. How are you these days? He looked over at me with a smile. I knew he knew that I could hear the whole conversation. I'm fine. Is everything okay? Jason asked him. Kind of, not really, but I need to move a lot of men. Do you have a plane that isn't being used so that you can take the tracking device off so we can fly under the radar? Hold on one moment, let me check. Jason told him and I heard the faint typing on a keyboard. You're in luck, we have a few that have not been used in about a month. Let me get a few mechanics on it, with under-the-table pay, to check it out. Sounds good. Funds will be in the account in a few minutes. Let me know when it's ready and I will send you the coordinates. Everest hung up the phone, moving to the computer, moving money from one account to the other. We will be flying. He smiled at me, standing and extending his hand. Come, let's go hang out with everyone. He smiled. We walked downstairs, shared the news that we would be flying into the south, under the humans' flight pattern radar. We hung out with the warriors that were left behind. We went over our plans on what would be going on for the next few weeks, or however long we would be down in the Southern Kingdom. We would protect Miranda during her transition phase. We would protect our own kind against Sebastian and Cassandra. We will stand with the witches who need their freedom back. I was sick and tired of living in the constant fear of being attacked or my people's lives being destroyed. I was tired of these evil siblings bullying everyone in hopes that they could get whatever they wanted. We loaded the plane up and everyone fit in there nicely. It didn't take, but just a few hours from the time we took off to land. If we had shifted and ran, it could have taken a few days. When we stepped off the plane, we were greeted by Miranda and Brent. Miranda's arms were wrapped around my neck in a hug. I hugged her back, happy to see her well. Brent shook Everest's hand before shaking mine. Our group followed them into the kingdom. They had every post stationed with double, maybe triple the number of warriors. Their kingdom was much bigger than ours when it came to their warriors. Our territory was larger, only because the further north you went, the less populated it was. When we walked inside, we were led to where we would be staying. We put our things down and I dove onto the bed. It formed around my body and it felt like I was lying on a cloud. I rolled over and looked up at the ceiling, closing my eyes, thinking about the next few days. We would be incredibly busy with their mating ceremony and then her crowning. I listened to Everest moving about the room. Drawers were opening and closing as he put away his things. I knew I should do the same, but I didn't feel like it. Suddenly, my body was nearly flung off the bed, only to fall back into it. Oof! I opened my eyes and looked at a smiling Everest. Comfy. He winked at me. I was. I frowned. Was? What happened? He was wearing a look of confusion on his face. Yes, was. You know, until a mountain of a man jumped onto the bed and nearly launched me into the ceiling. I let out a giggle. His hands were on my sides, tickling me. This caused me to fall into a fit of laughter. I squirmed around on the bed in a failed attempt to get away. Stop! 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 I managed to say between laughing and gasps of air. When he stopped, he had me pinned down on the bed. He lowered his face down to mine. He was maybe an inch away and I could feel his hot breath on me as his eyes searched my face. His smile seemed a bit mischievous. I was in the process of tapping into his mind when suddenly my entire right side of my face was wet. He licked me. I couldn't believe he did that. My mouth hung open in shock before a small laugh came out. Gross. I faked a cry of displeasure. Gross? You liked it, you little weirdo. He leaned down and licked the other side of my face. Ah! I screamed and began thrashing about to free myself. A knock came from the door and I made a pouting face. Fun time is over. I commented. Yes, unfortunately it is. He agreed, moving to free me as he stood up, getting off of the bed. Come on, let's go. Oh, I emptied your suitcase for you. He smiled at me, extending his hand to me. I took his hand and smiled back at him. Oh, babe, you did not have to do that. I could have done that when we got back later. I told him as I followed him to the door. I know you could have, I just know you hate packing and especially hate unpacking suitcases. He smiled and opened the door. The man who opened it, I would have to assume, was one of Brent's right-hand men. I know that he had a small group of trusted men to help with his kingdom and duties. I watched as the man took a step back, allowing us room to exit, then he bowed to us. King Brent has requested both of you to his meeting hall. Very well, will you please show us the correct way? Everest told the man and he bowed his head. Everest and I followed behind him. This castle was massive and took us almost 8 minutes to make our way to our destination. I did enjoy all of the art and statues along the way. The halls, from what I saw, were very tastefully decorated. I really wouldn't mind having a tour, seeing how massive the castle was. The man who led us knocked on the door. Brent's voice came through the other side. Come in, Randall. I didn't even think of asking his name. I glanced over at Everest and saw that he realized that he didn't think to ask either. It was understandable though, I had a million things going on in my mind. Randall opened the door, holding it open and bowed as we walked past him. Brent was standing in the middle of the room with Miranda by his side. They both wore a happy expression. I hope that you both will find your rooms not only comfortable but suitable too, Miranda commented. Yes, if there is anything that either of you need, please feel free to press the intercom located by the door. It will direct you to our staff director who will then filter your needs to the proper sources. Brent commented. Thank you, everything seems great. Should we talk about plans? Everest commented. Yes, please have a seat. Brent motioned to the rolling office chairs at the table next to him and Miranda. We allowed them to sit first and sat only after they had scooted up to the table. We moved to sit across from them. This way, it would be easier to pass papers back and forth. We sat and rolled up to the empty table. I looked over to Miranda and could feel her excitement about to explode. Have you found your dress for your crowning ceremony after you transition? I gave Miranda a warm and friendly smile. Yes. It is a gold ballgown dress with off-the-shoulder sleeves. It has embroidered flowers coming from the floor up to the corset bodice. I have it in my room if you would like to see it. She said excitedly. I would love to. I assume gold is part of your color coordination. I asked her. Yes, it is black and gold with red roses as our focused centerpieces, Miranda confirmed. Sounds beautiful, I can't wait to see your vision come to life. Hey, would you like to come with me to purchase a dress? I asked Miranda. I would love to accompany you. Miranda smiled and turned to look at Brent, who cleared his throat. You two will not be going alone. I will accompany the two of you, as well as an entire crew of warriors. The store will be cleared and every entrance or exit will have 2 warriors standing guard. Brent told the two of us and turned to look at Everest. Naturally, I will be joining all of you. I myself will need to buy a tuxedo. They don't travel well in a suitcase. I have also learned from previous mistakes and will not make that same mistake twice. I will also have 3 witches come with us. One of them will be Melissa, naturally. Everest gave a small smile and nodded to Brent. Okay, let's move forward with our plans then, Miranda said cheerfully. Yes, we have around 250 warriors and witches all together that have come together. Everest told them. We greatly appreciate all of the help, Brent told us both, with Miranda giving a nod. It is no problem at all, Everest told him. Brent pulled a remote out from his pocket and clicked the button. Soon after, a knock sounded on the door and in walked Randall with a few things in his hands. He laid everything out nicely and neatly in front of us, before bowing and leaving. I looked out at the table. There was a stack of folded papers that looked like mini maps of the kingdom's borders, a stack of post assignments, and a list of dates that I only assumed were for the next few weeks we would be here. Go ahead and take whatever you would like. These will all be passed out tomorrow morning at breakfast, lunch, and dinner to all of the warriors, ours included. They have not seen the schedule yet nor have they been assigned rotating stations. We have about 600 of these flyers to pass around. We wanted to get both of your approvals before this was set in stone, Brent told us. Everest and myself both picked one of each up and looked through them. Everything was detailed by the hour. Where each person should be and when each person should be there. This is fantastic work. This must have taken a lot of time. I told them both. Brent nodded his head. Thank you, it did take a lot of carefully thought out planning. Miranda, though, has a great attention to detail and powered through most of it. I watched as Brent placed his hand on top of Miranda's, caressing her hand with his fingers. You did great work, truly. This is so incredibly detailed, Everest commented. Fantastic work. We went over the paperwork together for the next few hours, checking details and adding in details for us. We planned on the following day to go and find my formal outfits for the next few weeks. All in all, we would need 3. I would need 1 for the mating ceremony, crowning, and then when everything was said and done, 1 for the party throne. I contemplated getting a 4th but ultimately decided against it. After a few hours, we finished our meeting, agreed on a meeting time tomorrow to find our outfits, and headed back to our room. I sat down on one of the reclining chairs and propped my feet up. I pulled my phone out and sent Trevor a text, trying my best to stifle a yawn. Hey Trev, how is everything going? Are your brothers minding you? We miss you 3 very much. He responded to me almost immediately. Hey, it's super boring but the bunker place is pretty cool. I didn't know that it was all underground. I smiled and sent him a reply, yes, pretty cool, hey? I didn't know it either until Everest showed me. Be safe and give the boys my love please. I will. You guys be careful too. Tell Everest I said hi. We miss you guys. He replied to me. I set my phone down and looked over at Everest. The boys send their love and they miss us. I smiled at him and he returned the smile. I miss them too. Soon we will all be happy together, I promise. He told me as he walked over to me, leaning down and placed a kiss on my mouth. Come, let's get some rest before our busy day tomorrow. He took my hand and led me to our bed, holding on to me as I fell asleep in his arms. I was lost in my own thoughts as looked at the 5 beautiful dresses that were hanging in front of me. I felt different this morning, but I couldn't pinpoint it. I had more energy than usual and even went down to the castle's gym to run a few miles. That wasn't enough, so I hopped onto the elliptical and did that for another 45 minutes. I even managed to lift some weights while there. Even after all of that, I still was not tired, worn out, or even a little bit exhausted. I just felt rejuvenated. How's it coming in there? The soft feminine voice sounded so far away. She wasn't distant though, she was just on the other side of the door. I rested my hand on my stomach and turned sideways, looking at myself in the mirror. Couldn't be, could it? Doesn't pregnancy make you feel exhausted? We aren't pregnant. I don't think. I feel energized too. I think it has something to do with our magic and just being around all of this magic. Charlotte commented in my mind. I could feel her looking at us through our eyes in the mirror. She must have counted to 60 because she asked again. This time, bringing me back to reality. Your Highness, is everything okay? Oh, yes. I am sorry. I just can't decide which one I want to try first. They're all so very beautiful. I responded to her. Elle could sense that she thought I was fibbing, but I couldn't tell. What about the emerald green one? I think the color would complement your skin beautifully. If you need any help with getting it on, let me know. She spoke to me through the door. Thank you, I appreciate it. I pulled the dress towards me, turning it around in my hand, looking it over. I may need your help in just a moment. I pulled the dress off of the hanger and stepped into it. I pulled it up to my waist and slid my arms into the lace sleeves with hints of sequins that made the dress sparkle under the lights. The lace was surprisingly comfortable, soft, and stretchy. It moved with my arm movements. The lace went into a deep V neckline with a satin bottom skirt that had a high slit which stopped reaching mid-thigh. I was in awe of the beauty of the dress, but thought it may be too risque for any occasion involving royals. I pulled the curtain back and the sales associate stepped in with a warm and welcoming smile. She curtsied to me as I was holding up the dress. Hello, thank you for your help. It is my pleasure, Queen of Avalynn. May I say that I think this dress is absolutely perfect. Her voice was soft and calming sounding. I smiled at her in the mirror as she pulled the materials of the dress together in the back, zipping the dress up. The zipper glided up the tracks easily. She moved to tuck the zipper in, hiding it. Surprisingly, the dress fit my body perfectly. I would just need the correct undergarments to wear underneath it and the shoes to go with it. Was thinking maybe black-colored stroppy high heels. Should I show them? I asked her. Yes, I believe they would love to see you in this. She smiled. Okay. I walked out of the room when she drew the curtain back. I walked down the hallway and into the room. My eyes landed on Everest and the hunger I saw flash through his eyes sent the butterflies fluttering through me. Wow! I heard him breathe. Oh my goodness! Avalynn, this dress is absolutely made for you. This has got to be the dress you wear for the crowning ceremony. No wait, I need to see the others first. Miranda practically squealed. She was very excited. You think so? I asked her. Oh yes, without a doubt. She was smiling widely. Your Highness. The dress shop owner approached us all and curtsied. Yes. Brent answered her. Your maid's dresses have arrived. They are ready for a final fitting. She had turned and was talking to Miranda now with the last part. Babe, would you like to try them on? Brent asked Miranda. Yes, of course. She looked over to the shop owner who led her back to the room. I quickly changed into my normal clothes and walked back out to sit with everyone. I was offered a snack and a drink. It was perfect considering I was beginning to get a little hungry. I ate the small sandwich and washed it down just in time as Miranda was coming out in her first gown. She was wearing the gold-colored ball gown she told me about. It fit her beautifully. She was absolutely glowing. Holy, wow! Just, wow! I heard Brent breathe out before standing and walking over to her. You like it? She looked up at him. Like it? Babe, you look breathtakingly beautiful. He leaned down and placed a kiss on her mouth. When the kiss broke, she turned around and looked over at me. What do you think? I love it. Told her cheerfully. You look amazing. Thank you. I have 2 more, but I can't wait to try those ones when we get home. Would you like to try the rest of yours? Nonsense. Try the rest of your dresses on. I told her. We have plenty of time. I smiled at Miranda. Well, okay then. Sounds good. We can go grab food afterwards. She turned and walked back into her changing room. Miranda came out with two other dresses. One was a gorgeous sparkly ruby red mermaid fitted dress with a strapless neckline that hugged her body perfectly. The bodice came down in a pointed V, giving a tasteful wow effect on her girls. The gown was long and pooled around her feet, but not in an annoying I can't walk, but in an elegant way. I could tell that it made her confidence skyrocket as she seemed to float as she walked out in front of us. Holy cow, Miranda! This dress is stunning! I told her. You look amazing! Which dress is this one for? I walked around her as I admired the fit and style. This one is for the crowning ceremony. The first one is for the marking ceremony. The next one will be for our Union of Territories ball after everything is said and done. She told me with a bright smile. Go try that one on. Brent commented from behind us. Okay, can do babe. She walked out of the room, her dress sparkling under the lights as she walked. I turned around and sat back down next to Everest. The guys were chatting about plans starting tomorrow for a good long training session with everyone together, including the witches. The following day will be the marking ceremony. After Miranda is marked, she will start her transition. From my understanding, it will be a long and painful process. It could take a day or it could take a week. The higher rank you are mated to, the longer and more painful it will be for your transition. We were all unsure how Miranda's transition would affect Brent. Okay, tell me your honest opinion, she said as she walked around the corner. This dress was a black and white ball gown that had a fitted bodice with a full, flowing skirt. The top of the bodice was black lace with a white skirt. The white skirt had a black lace that laid over the top of it, trailing from the bodice down the bottom of the gown and into the small train that was behind it. Everything that she tried on for us today was perfect for her. All eyes would be on the new official queen of the Southern Territories. You are beautiful, Miranda. These dresses are all so very perfect for you. I told her. She's right. You are beautiful. Everything you put on makes me want to rip it off of you, Brent said with a flirtatious growl at the end. Miranda instantly blushed. She would soon understand that we Lucans do not hide our feelings from our mate, and it is very natural for us to speak to one another this way around people we are comfortable with. Thank you, everyone, really. I was so unsure about some of these. She linked her arm with mine and we went back together. I really have never worn anything so glamorous or elegant before, let alone this expensive. She confided in me as we walked back to the dressing room, leaving the guys to talk out on the sales floor. Can I ask you something? She looked at me. Of course you can. Ask whatever you would like. I told Miranda truthfully. What is it like being mated to Everest? She had an indescribable expression on her face. Well, it is like we are perfectly fit together. I can tell what he is feeling, even without tapping into his mind. I can feel his excitement, arousal, love, fear, worriedness, hate, anger, and sadness. The mark allows you to feel everything. I can feel it when he is hurt too. Allegedly, if your mate is unfaithful, their pleasure will cause you pain. I haven't experienced that and hope that never happens. I may just murder the tramp and hang Everest by his toes off the mountainside." We both laughed at that image. With all that said, our two halves make a whole. Our love for one another is perfect. You will see. I smiled at her. Okay, it is hard because I can feel a pull but not like he can. Miranda stepped into her changing room. He is holding back, trust me. Once you transition after he marks you and you two are finally officially mates, it will all be different for you. That is when you will see how we all feel about our mates. I know it is hard to wrap your mind around but you will see, I promise, I told her. Thanks Avalynn. Now, go try your other dresses on and let's choose yours. She poked her head out at me, shooing me towards my changing room. Okay, okay. I agreed and walked into my room where my other dresses were hanging. I picked out a beautiful navy blue ball gown with long sleeves that were off the shoulder with the right amount of beading on the bodice for the crowning ceremony. The last dress I picked out would be for the union ball was a deep purple sleeveless ball gown with beading and sequins. The dress had a sweeping ball gown that flowed perfectly as I walked. I was pleased with everything and Everest approved them all. I knew that these dresses would be on the bedroom floor every night I would be wearing. By the way that he was not only looking at me, but the way he was feeling inside. Hell, if he could have done so, he probably would have taken me right then and there every time I stepped out of the changing rooms. We finished our day together with food and drinks. I went away to Miranda's office with her, helping her with her final preparations before she would be marked in 2 more days. When we finished there, we joined Brent and Everest as they were discussing details with lead warriors over training tomorrow. I couldn't wait to take a run, let Charlotte out and just let loose. Is that the best idea right now? To let loose? Charlotte commented. What do you mean? Elle questioned her. I am scared that our magic may be too much. She said honestly. We will be able to control it. Elle didn't know if we would be able to or not. I hope so. Just make sure no one is around us. She retreated back into my mind, obviously worried. Weird. Maybe I am siphoning magic from the other witches around? She is right. We will need to practice tomorrow and test out that theory. Hopefully, the witches will be well prepared to step in, just in case it gets out of hand. Charlotte's feelings had never been wrong before. I took a deep breath lost in my own thoughts. It was early in the morning. The sun was just barely greeting the new day. I was in a semi-open field. The only thing near me were a few extra large trees that, if I weren't a powerful magical lichen, looked extra spooky. The wind kissed my bare legs, sending a chill through me. I closed my eyes, finding my center. I felt the magic run through my system. My eyes opened looking at a tree and with a snap of my fingers, the tree snapped in half. Whoa! How in the world? Charlotte sounded surprised. I don't know. I just felt it, did the action, and that happened. I told her. Go check out your work. She encouraged me. I walked across the field to the splintered tree. I watched my step as I walked around the tree. Nothing was left but the stump in the ground and the broken limbs. I felt someone watching me. I turned my head to where I felt their presence the most. My eyes adjusted to the darkness that lingered throughout the wooded area. I spotted him. A man who was watching me from a distance with a weird expression that turned quickly to shock. When I blinked, he was gone. I was unsure if it was real or not. He seemed surprised that I spotted him. He seemed so far away, I wasn't sure how I was able to see him so clearly. I decided to vacate the field myself, rushing back to the safety of the castle. I knew I shouldn't have ventured out alone, but I had to. The closer I got to the castle, the stronger and more energized I felt. I don't know why I did it, but I jumped up in the air as I approached the castle wall. I flew over the top of the wall, to the other side, landing with a loud thud. "Holy cow!" Charlotte commented. "I know." I smirked. "Avalynn." The familiar sound of Everest's deep voice filled my ears. As much as it made me want to swoon, I knew he saw what happened. In a flash, he was by my side. "What was that?" I don't really know. It just happened." I stuttered, tripping over my words. His face seemed like he was intrigued, but the anger in his voice said otherwise. "Do it again," he commanded me, instead of asking. Charlotte let out a growl and I frowned. "I don't know if I can." He was now wearing a shocked expression and he sighed. "I'm sorry. Can you just try, please?" I nodded my head and focused. Suddenly, like a burst of energy, I jumped up to the wall, landing on the catwalk. I turned around and looked at Everest. His mouth was hanging open. "How?" he asked me. "I have a theory, but I am not very sure exactly how sound it is." I shrugged my shoulders. I climbed up onto the wall and looked down at him. "You're going to jump?" Charlotte screamed in my head. "Yes," I answered her. "Let's shift, it will." Before she could finish, I jumped down to Everest who was standing below. He seemed impressed. Everest took me by the hand and walked me to his office that Brent and Miranda designated for him to complete his work. I kept up with his hurried pace. We walked into his office as he locked the door behind us. He looked around the room, his eyes darting from one bookshelf to another. He walked over to the left side of the room. He reached up with his hand as his fingers moved from one book to another, searching. When he could not find what he was looking for, he mumbled under his breath, "Where is it?" "I know he said there was a book," as he walked to the other side of the room. I stood there silently smiling as I watched him, amused. Here we go." He plucked a book from the shelf as he hurriedly flipped through the book's pages. He glanced up at me for a brief moment and cleared his throat. "Tell me your theory on what you think is happening, love." "Well, I think that I am somehow pulling it from other witches. Siphoning it from them maybe? I am not sure, but the closer I am to here, the stronger I feel and the more energetic I feel. It is hard to explain. I can feel it, the power running through my entire system." He handed the book to me and I looked at the page that was left open. "It doesn't make sense. It is like you are a siphoner, but you possess magic too. It is just making you stronger and doesn't seem to hurt anyone around you when you do it." He was pacing around the room, a nervous energy clung to him. "I wonder if anyone knows or can tell." I shrugged as I was reading the pages in front of me. I had completely forgotten about the unknown person from earlier. Oh, Everest. I forgot to tell you. I looked up from the book as he stopped pacing and looked at me. Yeah? What is it? He asked me. Earlier when I was out in that field. My eyes were super focused and I saw someone. A guy. He was hanging out pretty far away but he was watching me. I think it might have been the brother, but he was alone. I watched the muscle in his jaw twitch as anger flashed across his face. Just as fast as it came, it was gone and he scooped me up into his arms. His mouth was on mine in a rough and deep kiss. His tongue pushed past my lips and tangled with my own. He pulled away from me and pressed his forehead against my own, letting out a deep sigh. You are killing me, Avalynn. You continue to put yourself in danger. Why? His Leakin was watching behind his eyes, angry. I had to go alone. There was no other way I could see it. I had to go away from everyone here to see what was going on with me. I didn't want to risk anything happening to anyone here, because if I was siphoning magic, witches could have gotten hurt. I had to go alone. My voice caught in my throat as I looked at him. You could have told me. He yelled. But, I couldn't. I yelled back at him. Yes, Avalynn, you could have. He frowned. No, Everest, I could not. I was unsure how it would work. You are a magical being yourself. What if it affected your shifting or made you weak? I stood my ground. He let out an annoyed sigh. If something had happened to you, I swear I would. I can't even think about it. His face was tinted red with rage that was building inside. But it didn't, nothing happened to me. I countered. Next time, do not go outside these castle walls without me or anyone else. Do you understand me? His eyes narrowed waiting for my response. My stubborn side did not want to give in to him and his command. His expression was serious and angry. It's not a command, you deserve to have your reamed. You're lucky he didn't lock us in the dungeon. Look at how angry he is. Don't test him. Charlotte commented. Hush, I told her. Just listen to him. She yelled and shut herself out. Stay out of it and let me handle his human side. I told her. Just listen to him for a change, for both our sakes. She huffed, let out a small growl and retreated away again. Fine. I let out a sigh, nodding my head and looking down at the ground. Good, it's settled then. He pulled me close to him, holding onto me tightly, inhaling deeply. A growl vibrated from deep within. It was low as butterflies that fluttered inside turned my stomach, warmth spreading throughout me. He held me for a long moment. I leaned into his body, letting him hold onto me. I felt my body relax in his arms as we stood together. I'm sorry, I whispered. It is okay. I know that you meant well. I worry about your well-being and safety. You do things without thinking them through. He spoke softly. I know. I do things on impulse. I looked up at him as he pulled away slightly. His hands came up to rest on either side of my cheeks as he gazed into my eyes. His tongue darted out as his eyes moved to look down at my mouth. His head dipped down slightly to my level as his lips pressed tenderly against my own briefly. I love you, I love you. I spoke softly. Come on, we should at least share this information with Brent and Miranda. He took my hand in his own as he led me down the hall. We paused in front of Brent's office as Everest knocked on the door. Come in. Brent called from the other side. We walked in as my eyes darted around the room. His office was dark and I noticed that Miranda was not there with him, like usual. We have to get her in here immediately. She may know what is going on. She was still a full witch, so if needed, she would be able to tell if she felt weaker when I tried to use magic or whatever I was doing. Do you mind calling Miranda? We have some things that we would like to discuss. Everest told Brent. Everything okay? Brent asked. Yes, no? I'm not sure to be honest, Everest told him. Okay. No problem. Brent said as he picked up his cell, texting her. Not even 10 minutes later, she walked into the office. Hey, what's going on? You said it was important. Miranda greeted Brent with a gentle kiss and turned to look at us as she talked. Yeah, we may need your help, I told her. Or, we could use your insight. Well, maybe both. Everest told her. Okay, Miranda paused, looking between us before turning to look at Brent. She looked back at us. Let's see what I can do to help. Miranda was unsure of what was going on with me, but she felt as if it would be safe enough to check it out for herself. We left the safety of the castle walls and we were all now standing, in the pouring rain, in the middle of the field I was at yesterday. Lightning flashed as thunder boomed over our heads. I felt extra energized and I was wondering if this would be a great idea. Okay, Avalynn. Are you ready? Miranda looked at me. I looked over to Everest, who nodded his head in my direction. Okay, yeah. Sure. I said, a little unsure of myself. Regardless, I focused on the energy in my task at hand. I closed my eyes, finding my center. Jump, Everest commented, and I did. I jumped high before I came crashing into the ground. The ground seemed to shake when I landed. I stood upright and looked over at Miranda. Anything? No, nothing. Strange. She held her hands up in front of her face, looking at them. She looked back over to me with a puzzled look. Can you manipulate the weather? Miranda motioned above as thunder rolled across the sky. I shook my head. No, well, I haven't tried yet. I shrugged my shoulders. Could you try? Brent asked me and I nodded my head. I concentrated, unsure of what to really do. I closed my eyes and relaxed my mind as I felt the energy build inside. When I opened my eyes and looked up to the sky above, rain hit my face, washing over my skin. I instinctively raised my hands up and pushed them away from one another. The clouds in the sky pushed apart and the rain split and moved from either side of the field. It was wild. I looked back at the three of them, standing there in awe of what was going on. That's when the rain came down again as my concentration broke. Holy cow! That's cool. I have heard of a weather witch before but I have never met one. Miranda said excitedly. Yeah, but I feel strong too. It's weird. Like I am still siphoning from everything magical. I told her. Brent spoke up, what would be really cool is if you could focus your siphoning on one individual to make them weaker. Yeah, like one of the siblings. If you could manage to even siphon between the two of them and then you could drain them both at the same time, Miranda trailed off. Oh. We could kick them easily. Everest said with a victorious laughter that was near evil. Yeah, but how can she safely work on this without hurting or damaging another witch? Brent asked. We were all standing there, drenched to the bone without a clue about how to solve the question. How could I accomplish something like this and keep everyone safe or unharmed even? I guess we should head back and get cleaned up, I mentioned after several moments. Besides, Miranda and I have some small things to tend to before tomorrow. I smiled over at her. Oh, yes. I just need to adjust a few things. Not too much more to go, maybe the seating arrangements for dinner. Miranda smiled. I can help you. I offered and she nodded at me. A few hours later in the evening, we sat around the table eating our dinner and chatting. Everyone seemed to be excited about tomorrow. Miranda's marking ceremony. Once she transitions into a Lycan, she will then have a crowning ceremony, then they could officially mate. With her becoming technically weaker before she becomes her strongest form, security was going to be fully staffed. We will probably have extra hands on duty around the castle the next few days. Hey, do you mind helping me finish setting up my transition cell? She made a quick glance at Brent, who in return gave her a glare. Miranda is not a prison cell. It is for your protection. It is a dangerous thing that we will be doing. I am marking you. You know the stories that we have read. You know what could happen. He was now wearing a sad look on his face. Yeah, I know. If I get loose I could harm innocents, without realizing it. She sighed. Exactly, that would completely destroy you. Especially if it was a loved one or a child. He took a sip from his cup. I know, I know. I wouldn't be able to live with myself. Besides, I know I am supposedly going to be super strong. Plus, it may be harder to control my emotions. I could have violent outbursts. This was true. Some of the stories we read were pretty sad. Especially the ones from way back when our ancestors were unsure or unaware of the dangers of a human changing into what we are, which had it slightly easier. Some who transitioned were taken out. Some of the weaker Lycans did not make it. After dinner, I was in Miranda's office waiting for her. Which looked more like a decorator's dream. There were so many things around the office for the next few days and, not to mention, everything was perfectly organized. Miranda's desk was completely cleared off and on it were the seating arrangements for the dinner. I looked and saw where people would be sitting. I searched for where Everest and I would be sitting. We would be sitting at the table directly next to Miranda and Brent. She had Cassie sitting with us. I smiled at seeing her name. I have yet to see her around the castle. Miranda said that she had Cassie in the local school, followed by tutoring, and exploring hobbies or interests. The door opened and in walked Miranda with Cassie hot on her heels. The squeal that came from such a small person hurt my ears. She ran to me with open arms and wrapped those arms around my legs. Hi! She said happily. Well, hello there. How are you? I asked her. tired. Aunt Miranda said I could take a break today. This place is so awesome, so many things to do. She spoke quickly. Oh yeah. I looked at her. Yes. She spun in a circle. What is your favorite thing to do? I asked her. I like playing ball. Boys like to make fun of me, but I tell them if they don't stop I'll make them eat dirt. She said innocently. Cassie. Miranda yelled over to her. What? I will. She made a fist before slamming it into her other hand. I died laughing and patted her on the head. I am sure you will. I looked over at Miranda, who rolled her eyes. You're going to have your hands full. Such sass. I laughed. No kidding. Anyway, I don't know where to put everyone. I mean, I know where to put people I truly know, but beyond that, I am unsure. Just a total loss. She looked back at the desk. You could always just let them sit wherever they want to. I offered her a solution, a pretty good one too. True. She was pondering on the idea. You know what? I like that idea. This way, families who don't get along won't be forced to sit together. Drama-free. She sighed happily. Then it is settled. I smiled at her. Should we go get some ice cream? Oh. Can I have a delicious sundae? With hot fudge, and peanuts, and Oreos, M&Ms, and whipped cream with sprinkles on top. Cassie yelled excitedly. I don't know. It's getting late. Miranda teased her. Please, please, please. Oh please. Cassie begged Miranda. Miranda let out a chuckle and nodded her head. Very well, come on. Let's go make them together. We ate our big bowls of ice cream and were later joined by the guys. Everest ate half of mine after claiming that he was uninterested in me making him some. Brent, Miranda, and Cassie went their separate ways. Everest took me by the hand, grinning down at me. What are you smiling at? I asked him. You. He looked me up and down. Me. I frowned. You're beautiful, he commented. Thank you. I moved closer to him as my tongue darted out, licking my lips. He leaned down, his breath was hot against my ear and neck. His lips grazed against my earlobe. Let's go for a run. He whispered. A run? I breathed, confused. My mind was definitely going elsewhere. Yes, let our lichens be together tonight. He growled. Charlotte perked and pushed forward, peering through me. I think we would like that. Good, let's go. He told me. We let our lichens run through the park trails inside the castle walls. I relaxed in the back of Charlotte's mind and made a mental checklist of what I needed to do tomorrow. Time flew by, but to be honest, I kind of checked out and let them have their privacy when it came to them mating. We shifted back to our human form. I turned around and looked at Everest. He had mud caked to him, grass and other debris in his hair. He grinned at me. You need to shower. He teased. I let out a laugh. Me? Speak for yourself. I can wash you. He stepped closer to me. Oh, is that so? I spoke softly as he was leaning down towards me with a twinkle in his eyes. Yes, It is. His lips brushed against my own. We took our time in the shower, exploring each other's bodies and getting clean. He moved it to our bedroom and we spent the better half of the morning tangled with one another. I had the blanket draped over my body, my head on his chest, listening to the beating of his heart. I closed my eyes and dozed off asleep. When the alarms went off it was 11 in the morning. I sat up in our bed. I stumbled out of bed. I heard Everest chuckle. It's not funny, I am running late. I looked back at him and he was in a full-blown fit of laughter. I quickly threw on some comfortable clothes, which consisted of leggings and a tunic tank top. I pulled my hair up into a cute but messy bun. I brushed my teeth, picked up my sunglasses, kissed Everest goodbye, who tried to pull me into bed again. I can't, babe. I have to go. See you in a few hours. I have to go help her get ready for today. I kissed him one more time before I left the room. The rest of the afternoon was filled with getting our hair and makeup done and lunch. Miranda was pacing around the room throughout the entire process. She was so nervous, as she should be. She will be getting marked tonight after dinner. This dinner is more of a celebration of welcoming the king's maid into the royal family. She will be showered with love, gifts, and meeting so many people tonight. I slipped into my least formal dress I had purchased at the shop. It was still fit enough for a queen, but not over the top and dramatic. Simple, timeless, and classic. Are you ready? I asked Miranda. She stopped pacing and turned to look at me, inhaling deeply. As ready as I will ever be. I smiled at her, gave her a small hug. I will be right there for you. Brent will be right by your side. If you need to be rescued, triple clear your throat and I'll whisk you away from whoever won't leave you alone after dinner. Her arms held onto me for a bit longer. Thank you. For everything. For showing kindness and understanding, even when I never deserved it. Thank you. Of course. I smiled at her. See you in a few moments. A knock sounded on her door. Brent is here for you. Everest is here for me. Remember to breathe. I told her and she nodded her head. Miranda POV. I was so very thankful for having someone like Avalynn as not only a good friend but family. She has been a true friend day in and day out. She has shown me kindness at a time when I didn't deserve it or anything remotely nice towards me. I hugged her and thanked her for it. She would never know how thankful I was for her generosity and grace that day. She, along with Brent, seemed to calm the storm raging inside of me. It was like every ounce of my being knew what later tonight would bring. Her encouraging words and help along the way made my anxiety subside. Brent and Everest entered the room. I watched as Everest escorted Avalynn out of the room and I was left alone with Brent. He looked dashing in his suit. It was tailored in all of the right places and cut to fit his body perfectly. I could feel myself mentally drooling over this magnificent specimen of a man. My eyes slowly made their way down his body, drifting along all of my favorite spots, his broad strong shoulders, his arms, and the way the material managed to show his strength, his waistline and the surprise that hid just below the belt, and finally his long strong legs. You look amazing too. He smiled at me. I looked up at him and his eyes had softened as he looked at me. He stepped up to me and drew me up into his arms, growling possessively into my ear. Mine. His breath was hot on my skin as he nibbled on my earlobe. I melted into his arms as he held me up. Easy, we may not make it to dinner, let alone the ceremony where I can finally mark you. He spoke low. I took a deep breath, my eyes blinking quickly, as I spoke with a shaky breath. No. A chuckle vibrated through his chest. Come with me. It is time. Everyone is waiting for our grand entrance. He placed a gentle kiss against my cheek. We left the room and made our way to the ballroom where everyone was waiting. Tables were scattered around the massive room. 3 clicks were heard and an announcement of His Royal Highness, King Brent, and his mate, soon to be Queen Miranda. I swallowed and Brent squeezed my hand in his for reassurance. I watched as the beautiful massive double doors slowly opened in front of us. The sounds of the chairs scooting against the floor and the ruffling of dresses as people stood to get a better look were heard. We slowly walked in together and made our way up to the front of the room. We, along with Everest and Avalynn, would be eating on a raised platform. We walked to it and walked up to the platform, walking up the steps. I could see everyone in the room from up here. We walked around the front of the table as Brent made a speech. Welcome to our home. We hope that you enjoy this evening's festivities that will lead to the marking of my mate, Miranda. We are so very blessed to have such support from the community from different backgrounds. From lichens to witches, you will always be welcome here. Here is to a new dawn, a new day, and a new way of life for us all. Enjoy dinner everyone! Cheers erupted throughout the room. I watched him walk back toward me. His smile brightened my soul as he took my hand and led us to our seats. He pulled the chair back for me, allowing me to sit. We ate dinner and chit-chatted. My eyes glanced around the room, frequently watching the room. I have never, in my entire life, ate more carefully than I have tonight. Every bite was super small and calculated. I was not about to ruin this beautiful dress. When the last course was served and finished, the tables and chairs were cleared by our staff members as our guests mingled and talked. Drinks were passed around by our servers and music began overhead. We mingled and danced along with our guests. Everyone that I spoke with was super nice and supportive of us being together. Brent and Everest were pulled away to speak with a few alphas from the surrounding packs. Avalynn and I decided to use this as an opportunity to walk around the room together. As we were walking, I felt someone watching us, moving along with us. I turned my head in the direction I felt eyes coming from and a woman was looking at me. She gave me a smile and moved closer to us. She stopped in front of us and raised her brow. Avalynn cleared her throat and the woman shot daggers at her as a warning. Wrong move on her part for not acknowledging a royal. Avalynn's arm darted out and reached for her. Her hand clamped against her throat and she growled at her protocol. Step back away from her. Her words were laced with venom. The woman's hands were wrapped around Avalynn's, clawing at them and fighting against her. She was trying to free herself from Avalynn's grasp. Her feet were lifted off the floor and I never realized how strong Avalynn was until now. Submit. She ordered and the woman stilled and she let her go, dropping her to the floor. The woman bared her neck and looked down at the floor. Speak your truth. She gave her permission to speak now. I am Chloe. I wanted to tell you that you are making a mistake, getting with him. He is mine and I will do everything in my power to ruin what you share with him. You will never truly be one of us. You stupid. She blinked, clearly shocked by the words that came from her own mouth. Is that really how you feel? Avalynn questioned her. Yes. She frowned and shook her head no. Well then. Avalynn turned and looked at me. Miranda, what should we do? I heard Brent's throat clear behind me. I hadn't heard him approach us, but from the look on Avalynn's face, she knew they were there. What is the meaning of this, Chloe? Brent growled at her and put a protective arm around my waist. I want you to stop playing pretend and come back with me. She had tears streaming down her face. No. Just the fact of you saying what you said about my mate, your queen, you are banned from the territory. You have a 24-hour notice to leave. If you are found in my territory, my people will not hesitate to end your life. Brent growled at her. Don't even think of retreating to the Northern Territory. You are banned there as well and there will be a kill on sight. Everest growled at her. Now, leave. I told her. Chloe glared at me and looked around at Avalynn, Everest, and Brent, who were all ready to pounce on her if she made one wrong move. I didn't need them though. When she didn't move fast enough, I used my magic as I forced her out the doors. I said leave. I yelled as she went flying back. Nice touch. Avalynn laughed as I turned to look at the three of them. Thanks. I smiled at her. You're going to make one hell of a queen. Good job for standing up for yourself and having the courage to not back down. Everest concluded. The rest of the evening was spent dancing and laughing with family and friends. When the party died down, it was when Brent whisked me away. It was time to be marked by him. He led me to the room where I would be watched and kept a close eye on me. A team of the castle doctors and nurses were already there, waiting on us. Brent led me to the bed in the room and placed a soft kiss on my cheek. Let's get you into something more comfortable, yes. He smiled. I nodded my head and turned my back to him, allowing him to loosen the laces on the corset. Slowly the dress began to loosen its hold on my body. I held onto the front, not wanting to expose myself. I will give you a moment to change. He placed a kiss on my bare shoulder as shivers ran down my spine. I changed into a tank and some comfortable mesh shorts. I looked at myself in the mirror and laughed. My hair and makeup were so elegant looking and here I stood in comfy clothing. I watched as Brent re-entered the room and made his way to me. I turned around to face him. He leaned to me and placed a kiss on my mouth. My lips pressed back into his softly. He guided me to bed and took my hands in his own. He brought my right hand up to his mouth and pressed his lips against each knuckle softly. Tonight is all about you, my dear. The marking will only be painful if you fight against it. It is meant to be a pleasurable experience, only if you allow it to be. I nodded my head and smiled at him. Okay. Are you sure you are ready for this? He asked me as his finger trailed up and down my neck. Yes, I am sure. I tilted my head to the side, offering it to him, and heard him chuckle. I looked back at him, a little confused as to why he was laughing. My dear, I am not a vampire. I am going to make sure your entire body is ready for this moment. Ready for me, ready for your transition. He kissed me. I returned the kiss to his lips. I don't know what I am doing here. I mean, I thought you would just bite me. He smiled down at me and brushed a loose strand of hair away from my face, gazing at me lovingly. No, my dear, that is not how I would like you to receive this gift. Let's get you more relaxed. He handed me a glass of wine. I took a deep breath and smiled at him. Okay. I took the glass of wine from him. Miranda POV. I was nervous, scared, worried, but also at ease in the comfort of Brent's embrace. He held me close to his body. My arms moved around his waist, holding him to me. My dress was only being held up now by our bodies being pressed into one another. His mouth worked against mine slowly. His hands moved slowly down my side, moving to step us backwards. My calves were pressed back against the side of the bed. Brent moved back from me as my dress pooled on the ground around my feet. His eyes traveled down my body as I felt all the blood rush to my face, feeling hot. I looked down at the ground at the dress and my bare feet. His hand went under my chin, lifting it to look at him. You never have to feel embarrassed in front of me. I love everything about you. His free hand traveled along my waist slowly, causing me to shiver. Okay. I will try. I looked up at him. It seemed as if his eyes were searching through my soul. His hands were resting on my cheeks as his head dipped down and his mouth was over mine. His hands moved down my neck, along my shoulders, down my sides, and finally his hands rested on my bottom. I felt his fingers grip me and pull me up to him. My legs instinctively wrapped around his waist. With one hand supporting my bottom, the other rested on my back. With a swift motion, I was lying on my back with him on top of me. He broke the kiss as his mouth slid to my ear, his breath was hot against my skin. I felt a warm feeling travel through my body. It was something that I had never experienced before. Sure, I have been with others, but none have ever made me feel the way Brent is making me feel now, always. Which floors me, to say the least. This must be the mating bond everyone speaks about. His head lifted and moved to my ear. Ready? His voice was deep, soothing, and enticing. Yes, I was barely able to get out. I felt his teeth retract as he then pulled back from me. He looked down at me, his eyes studying me. Are you okay? He moved to lay next to me, his hand reaching up to my neck. The pad of his thumb moved over his mark, wiping away blood. I feel warm, relaxed, different. I told him honestly. He took me into his arms and held my body close to his. After a few minutes of silence, I felt him move. You're burning up, he whispered. I only nodded my head as I felt him leave my side. I felt the coolness of the air from his absence. It was wonderful. I heard the shuffling of feet as I was surrounded by the castle's doctors and nurses. A cooling blanket was wrapped around me and a machine was turned on. It was instant relief. A soft sigh of comfort escaped my lips. Brent laid back down with me and played with my hair. He hummed softly, causing my body to relax completely, drifting off to sleep. A few hours later, I woke up to my blood being drawn. I felt groggy and different. I blinked a few times and fell back asleep. It was like I was hanging in a delicate balance between being awake and dreaming. Hello. I heard the soft sound of a feminine voice whisper through my mind. Hello, Miranda? Are you there? There it was again. A voice that seemed so familiar, but so strange. I heard the soft sound of a sigh and I was alone again. I woke up hours later. My eyes blinked several times as my hand rubbed the sleep away. It was dark inside the room but my eyes quickly adjusted to the low light. With his head in an awkward position, I noticed Brent was asleep. Then I felt it, all of a sudden and out of nowhere. It was like nothing I have ever experienced, a sharp pain shot through my entire body. I let out a shrieking scream as my back arched and my body contorted. My eyes squeezed close as my teeth clenched, grinding together through the pain. I felt Brent's touch and heard him call my name. The soft shushing noises from his lips soothed me. His touch calmed the pain, only a little. I felt the prick of a needle. It was immediate pain relief and I felt my body unclench and start to relax again. I closed my eyes as my breathing began to slow. I focused on slow, even breaths. Finally, I let out a blissful sigh when the pain subsided. I snuggled into Brent's arms as he held me tightly, talking softly to me. The pain you are feeling is just the transition. The pain has to be your bones, muscles, joints, and even your blood vessels are all adjusting to your changing body. I can't imagine the feeling you just felt, but I am trying my hardest to make this easy on you. His nose nuzzled against my cheek as his lips pressed against it, placing a gentle kiss on me. You make it so much better. The pain is eased by your touch. Your touch is comforting, soothing, and relaxes me. I moved my body closer to him and I felt his arms tighten around me. That is the mate bond. I felt him press another kiss on the top of my head. Oh! I responded. I sat there for a minute thinking about that strange voice I heard earlier. As if he was reading my mind. Have you heard anything? Like a voice or sounds that sounded like someone or something was trying to reach out to you. Actually, I do believe so. It was a very soft voice. Very feminine sounding. She called my name. I looked up at him. That is good. Really good. Great even. She is trying to connect with you. Remember to try and let her in. Once you let her in, we can move to the next step in your transition. He smiled at me. Right now, rest. I nodded my head and fell back asleep. I dreamed that I was running faster than I have ever run before in my whole life. Running through an open field, Brent was running with me, except it was his beast. He growled at me as he playfully pounced and rolled through the thick grass. Hello, Miranda. I saw her then. It was like I was watching myself. Brent had disappeared out of my dream completely. I looked around and the field was gone. We were standing in a room together. I looked over at her and her fur was mahogany red with a white spot on the tip of her tail and the fur around her feet was black. Hello, who are you? I asked her. I am you. She smiled at me. Me? I frowned. I am your Leekin. My name is Seraphine. It is nice to finally meet you. She approached me and lowered her head to me. I looked at her unsure of what to do, but something told me to touch her and so I did. My hand laid on the top of her head and we blended in together. Our bodies weaved around one another and soon we were one. Soon I was standing alone in the room with Seraphine gone. I am still here. I am with you. I am inside you. I am you and you are me. Our transition is almost complete. You just need to shift within the next 48 hours. If you do not shift, we will die. Wake up. She told me and my eyes snapped open. Miranda POV. My eyes snapped open and I sat up in bed. I felt hot, burning hot. I needed to shift. I don't want to die. I need to shift. I felt my heart in my throat as panic set in. How am I going to shift? How is this done? What am I going to do? Hey, hey, hey. Easy love. I heard Brent and I turned to where his voice was coming from. I looked him up and down and took a deep breath. My eyes widened and I let out a playful growl like purr. My hand clamped over my mouth and I heard him chuckle. What was that? I asked aloud. That was me. Seraphine was in my mind. My hands covered my ears because it was weird sounding. It was loud but not really loud all at the same time. It was like she was standing right next to me, but she was in my head. Whoa! I frowned. That is going to take some getting used to. I heard her laugh in my mind and it made my eyes widen. Take a deep breath through your nose. 1. I want to smell him and see if we need to wait to shift for his scent. 2. I don't want you to hyperventilate it. Seraphine told me. I took a deep breath through my nose and the only thing I could smell was the cranberry hand wash, cleaner, and the fabric softener from the sheets. Drats! But look at him. He is handsome. Come on, let's work on shifting. I looked across the room at Brent and he was looking over me slowly. Hi, sorry. I apologized to him. It's okay. I know it can feel overwhelming. He motioned for me to follow him. Come on, let's get you something to eat. You need to have full strength tonight when you shift. Why tonight? Why can't I try after we eat? I walked with him. You can use the moon's energy to help with your shifting. Brent pulled my chair out and I sat in it. I watched him walk around the table and sit across from me. I looked down at the table and there was a giant covered dish. I pulled the top off after he did and a plate of cheesy scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage, biscuits smothered in gravy, hash browns, and a giant bowl of mixed fruit. Off to the side, I lifted another top off of a dish and there sat 3 large pancakes covered with syrup. There was no way I would be able to eat all of this. Oh yes, yes we can. Seraphine told me. We ate and talked about what I should expect when I shift or attempt to shift tonight. I wouldn't be alone in shifting. Brent will be by my side, as well as Avalynn and Everest will be there for support too. If I am successful tonight, we will go for a run and then tomorrow will be my crowning ceremony. I went for another bite of pancake and frowned when I realized everything was completely gone. I made a pouting face and heard Brent chuckle. Still hungry? He asked and I nodded my head to him. He snapped his fingers and another plate of food was brought out to me. I don't understand how I can eat all of this. I sighed as I lifted off the cover, revealing eggs, bacon, and toast. I feel like I am eating for 5 people. It's normal to eat a lot. You burn 3 or 4 times more calories as a lichen than a human. I was unsure how much you would eat on your first day, but it looks like you have a normal and healthy appetite. That is great news and promising. It means that your body and your lichen are accepting one another. Which means when you shift it may be easier to do so. Do you have any questions about your first shift? He took a large bite out of the sausage and biscuit sandwich, chewing as he looked across the table at me. Let me think about it. I chewed my food slowly and thought about whether I had any questions. I had read a lot before this all happened. I wanted to be well educated about what would be going on with my body. Take all the time you need. I will try to answer your questions the best way that I can. He smiled at me and continued to eat. I racked my brain as I ate. Oh, I have something. I swallowed my food. How bad does it hurt to shift for the first time? He finished chewing his food and, with a small shrug of his shoulders, I am not going to lie, it is painful but not as painful as a wolf's first transition into their beast. Your bones will crack, pop, and elongate. You will be bigger and taller, faster and stronger. Oh, and a lot more hair, everywhere. How painful was your first shift? I asked him, pushing the plate of food away, finally feeling satisfied. I'm not going to lie, it was pretty painful. My family was attacked by a rival lichen group. I was just 17. My lichen actually came early. I didn't tell anyone, but I couldn't shift yet because my body wasn't ready. He forced the shift the night my family was attacked. I am one of the youngest shifting lichens of our kind. It is so extremely rare for something like that to happen. But I am thankful he forced the shift. I was able to help my family that night and help save them. I even saved my brother. Wish I hadn't, a lot of this could have been avoided. He sighed. You couldn't have known what he was capable of. I stood and walked over to him. I placed my hand on his shoulders, leaning down and placing a kiss on his cheek. He wrapped his arms around me and pulled me into his lap. A giggle passed through my lips as he buried his face into my neck, inhaling deeply. Whoa! Your eyes! My eyes! I frowned. Yeah. They're like a bluish-silver color. They're more silver than blue. Absolutely fascinating and beautiful. I could feel Seraphine watching through my eyes. I think it's Seraphine. Seraphine? Is that your lichen? His head tilted to the side a little as he studied my face. Oh yes, she is. I smiled. She is very pretty too. I can't wait to meet her. He told me. Are you finished eating then? He motioned to my 3 plates on the other side of the table. I am. Everything tasted better than before. It's a bit interesting. How is everything just all around better now? Well, from a food standpoint I guess. I smiled up at him. Because your senses changed and heightened. Let's go for a walk and then get some stretching in. It will help with your first shift. He told me. Okay, sounds great. I said cheerfully. Let's do this. I hopped up from his lap, spinning around to face him. Would you like to change clothes or are you comfortable going out in what you're wearing? He stood up from his seat and took the last drink of orange juice from his cup. I looked down at the clothes I was wearing and figured it was not appropriate attire to wear for a future queen. I would like to have some leggings and maybe a t-shirt too. No problem. I went ahead and brought some of your clothes down here for you. He nodded his head to follow him and I did so. He opened a drawer and showed me my clothes. Thanks, babe. He smiled and nodded his head as if it was no problem. He exited the room to allow me a moment to change. Holy boob Batman, where in the world do you come from? I said aloud to myself. I walked over to a mirror to look at myself. My eyes were cool looking and it appeared that I had slimmed down too, and gotten taller. When a few minutes passed, he softly knocked before entering. I loved how respectful he was towards me, giving me privacy even if he has seen my body and made it do things no one else could. I bit my bottom lip thinking about our moment together before he marked me. You better stop biting that bottom lip unless you want me to keep you in here all night. He let out a playful growl. I gave him a wink and he crossed the room in a few strides. He pulled me into his arms and placed a kiss on my lips. Come on, let's get going. They're probably waiting for us. Okay, let's go. I told him. I wanted to have some fun. Seraphine whined. I am sure you will have some fun soon. I told her as we all walked with Brent. We reached the pathway that we were going to go walking along. Avalynn and Everest were already there waiting for our arrival. Hey you two! I greeted them cheerfully. Hey! Whoa! Miranda! Your eyes! Avalynn moved closer to me. Yeah, I know. It's Seraphine. I told her. She linked her arm with mine and we began walking. Our mates walked protectively behind us. I told her everything. How I was feeling. How I was handling the change. How having Seraphine in my mind felt weird to me. She, in turn, told me how she found out she was a Lycan. How her Lycan showed up out of nowhere. How it took time to get used to hearing someone in her mind. Did it hurt? I looked up at her. Shifting? She questioned and I nodded my head at her. Not really. I shifted quickly my first time. She went on to tell me the story of her shifting. I hope I am that lucky. I sighed and she hugged me. I am sure it will happen the way it is supposed to happen. Avalynn smiled. By the way, I think you're taller. Yeah, I noticed that. I agreed. It's because of your Lycan, Brent called from behind. Yeah, getting your Lycan changes your body. You basically get the perfect body. Everything fills out the way it's intended to be. It is to help you be the lean mean killing machine nature intended us to be. Not that you have to be a killing machine. She laughed and I joined her in laughing. Honestly, my boobs and slimming down were the first two things I noticed when I was changing earlier. Then I noticed how tall I was. My legs seem longer and leaner. I almost didn't recognize myself in the mirror. I smiled. Well, you look absolutely fantastic. It suits you. Avalynn said. We walked along the trail and, for the first time, I was able to keep up with them all. I didn't need to take a break or have them help me on some of the tougher parts of the trail. I felt accomplished. We made it back to the main part of the castle and ate some lunch. After lunch, we moved to the gym to do some simple stretches. I stretched and stretched. The more I did it, I could feel Seraphine relaxing more into my body. I felt more in sync with her. The sun was slowly beginning to set outside. I took a bottle of water and walked over to the window and looked outside. Butterflies crept into my stomach and I felt nervous. We got this. No need to be nervous. We will crush it, together. Seraphine spoke confidence into me. I knew she was right. A few hours later, the moon was high above our heads. The energy it was radiating was remarkable. I looked up into the night sky and smiled to myself. Brent's hands were on my shoulders. He kissed the side of my head. We stood there in silence as we waited for the right moment for Seraphine to tell me we were ready to begin. A few moments later, I felt her. Miranda, I think it is time that we try to begin our shift. Seraphine spoke. I turned in Brent's arms and looked up at him. Is it time? He asked me and I nodded my head. He placed a kiss on my lips and I returned the kiss. I looked over at Avalynn and she nodded her head at me. We are here for you, for your support. You got this. You can do this. We believe in you. Brent looked at me for a good while before finally taking a few steps back from me. I was in the center as everyone watched. Brent cleared his throat, looking up at the sky and back to me. Listen to my voice as I help instruct you. Listen to your Leekan and all her in. Allow her control. Do not fight for control, even during the pain, give in. Concentrate, you can do it. Call your Leekan forward in your mind. Okay. I closed my eyes and tried calling on Seraphine. Seraphine. Are you there? It is time. I am ready. I told her. I could feel her presence. Seraphine? Hello. I looked at Brent and he motioned for me to calm down. Be patient, he told me. I sat down on the ground. I inhaled deeply and felt her. My eyes opened and I looked around. Everything was brighter, almost like it was daylight outside. This must be Seraphine. Her eyes. I heard Avalynn whisper but I pushed it out of my mind. Then the pain hit. I let out a short scream as it caught me off guard, but then just began to breathe through the waves of pain that hit me. I let the pain roll off my shoulder. I soon heard cracking and popping noises. My face felt like it started to contort. I kept my eyes closed but I felt hair sprout under my hand. It was soft and warm. I was sitting up now as the last stretch and crack was heard. It was loud and disturbed the quiet that was around. When my eyes opened, I was no longer looking out my own eyes but watching through Seraphine's. It was like looking through a window. I could see everything she saw. Then the scent hit me, us. It was the smell of fresh cedar wood. Seraphine let out a possessive growl as she lunged forward to Brent and tackled him. He managed to shift before she reached him as they rolled on the ground together. She rubbed her body all against his and he did the same. She playfully nipped at him as he nipped at her. Hello. I heard Brent come across my thoughts. Hello. I said back, confused. We are linked. I can hear you and you me. Cool, hey. Brent asked. Very, I said happily. If you ever need me, this is a direct link to me. The link that binds us will always be open to one another. I will never close it to you. He smiled. I will never close it to you either. I smiled. Want to go for a run? He asked us and both of our lichens let out a howl. I looked over and Avalynn and Everest were already shifted. We all took off running through the woods that were on the inside of the castle walls. It wasn't a big run, but it was enough to bond with not only my lichen but give Seraphine a chance to bond with her mate. When we were done, we all met back in the clearing. Everyone shifted in mid-stride as I stood there. I frowned and pushed myself forward as Seraphine stepped back, allowing me control. I shifted back to my human form slowly. Good job. It will get faster with time and practice. Brent smiled, wrapping his arm around me. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.